Starting turn 4, and the situation's looking pretty equal for each other. The Germans are holding the town, and the French are poised to attack the town over here. We'll see what I can do as the Germans to stop that and cement my hold on the town. So let's start off with their spotting. We'll take a look at the French here. I think all the French units are spotted in some way, shape, or form. Each one are next to German units, so that'll make them spotted. The only one that's in question here is the heavy machine guns down here in the wheat, or in the crops, I should say. And they move, so they're going to get a -2 on the spotting, and then they're going to get a +2 for being in medium cover for spotting in the crops. So they're going to wind up on 0, which 0, if we look at our spotting table, we'll see is showing us with spotting hexes of 10. So they'll be seen by the tanks up here. So there'll be visibility there. And it'll be reciprocal back to the tanks, because the tanks have 20 as a base, and they have the same thing, movement +2, and then -2 for being in the crop. So those two are seen over there. Now for the other Germans, obviously reciprocal for the ones that are next to them. Looking at the Panzer IIIFs over here, they are not spotted because it's going down the hex side. So that's going to be non-spotted. So let's take that off. And then the half tracks behind well into the town, so they will be taken off there as well. So there's the spotting. And there's what we're looking at over there. So now it's on to the command phase, and again, I have 5. We have no real losses yet, so I still have 5 commands that I can place. Well, I think what I'm going to do over here is start off with a command putting a move onto him, and a move onto him, and I'll show you why. I'll show you how the Germans can kind of outmaneuver the French here in a second. So there's 1 and 2 over there. I suppose I should do something with firing with my infantry over here, trying to suppress them, stop them, anything. And definitely with these suppressed infantry, because they're potentially getting hand-to-hand combat over here as well. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. I think for the other one, we will have these 2 units sharing an overwatch. Actually, what I'll do is let's change these non-snap to hex, and we'll put an overwatch for all 4 of these. Will share. Now they're all the same formation, so they can share the overwatch. So that allows them to cover everything over there. They have no direct spotting, so they have to have an overwatch. Okay, so there we go. No, not initiative yet. The commands for the French. So the French heavy machine guns down here. Let's see what they're going to do. We're going to do a 2d10, 13, and 13. No, I'm not on my table here. I moved around. 13 with a +10 makes 23. So they're going to get a short halt. So they're going to move and shoot at the same time. So they'll get a short halt like this. And then we'll start with these H39s and Y8. So that'll be 55 plus 10, making 65. 65. They are also going to do a short halt. And these next door to them in Z8. 25 plus 10 is 35. And that will be a move. Okay. That'll be a move. Got to think about that one here for a second. They're so close. So close. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to overrun. Well, let's give them the move and see what happens. And then we've got the other H-35s over here. Now, one thing I was looking at with these H-35s, they had pointed their turret facing facing ahead, basically to A6. And this is one of the limitations of the French. Their turrets couldn't turn as fast, so they can't actually shoot at the suppressed unit over here. So they actually have to take either a move or an overwatch to do that. So let's see what they're going to do. Let's roll the dice. 86 with our plus 10 makes 96, and it says FC hull down. All right, this I'm going to overrule. I don't think they go into a hull down in this case. I know they're cautious, but it's a little bit too much to think that they're going to go into a hull down. There's no real threat to them at the moment. So I'm going to back this up, and I'm actually going to give them an overwatch. I think that's going to be more of a better command for what they're going to do. And then we'll go to the infantry over here. So let's see what they're going to do. 33 and 33 goes to a 43. They're going to do a move. Okay, so they align pretty much with what I thought. They will most likely be trying to hand these guys going forward there. So with that done, I think we've got all the commands on here. So let's go to the initiative. I'm rolling for the initiative with a plus 10. So I roll a 16 plus 10, 26. Okay, I don't have the initiative. So I will not be the first player. The French will shoot first, and I will move first, but the hand-to-hand will hand-to-hand first. So, all right, so let's see what's gonna happen here. So let's take the H-38s here firing at Y7 right here. Obviously point blank range. That's pretty easy. Let's look at their card again to remember what they are. There are 2 with a plus 10 for the shooting. Now the infantry, their squad is in a building, in a wooden building, so they're only going to be a light cover of 4, but they're full cover, so that makes them up to 6. So it's going to be 2 against a 6. Let's take a look at our thing here. 2 against a 6, so it's going to be a base of 65 for suppression, 92 for an effective. Now we do have some modifiers here, not a whole heck of a lot, but let's just take a look here. Yeah, okay, short halt. So target is not moving. We do have a short halt, which is going to be a minus 15 right there. And then we've also got French 2-man turrets, so that's going to be minus another 5, so that makes minus 20. And then, of course, we're going to have our plus 10 for the coax down here, so that brings us back up to a minus 10. So if we look back here, 2 against a 6, so it's 69, 95. So it's going to be minus 10, so it's going to be 79 and 105. So effective is really out. The best we can do is suppress him with a 79 or higher. So here's the roll. 73, pretty close, but not enough. All right, let's flip that around. Pretty close, but not enough. Now, the heavy machine guns down here. Now they'll have some choices, and this is where we're going to get in and use our firing chart to see what choices we have for these heavy machine guns. They're both doing short halt. So first off, we're going to see who they're shooting at. So I'm going to roll a 158, and let's go back over to our tables. 58. So our 58 is added 10 makes 68 on our fire tables. So that puts us into the nearest friendly unit. So let's go back over here. Nearest friendly unit. Let's do some line of sights here. So he is range of 6. He's a range of 5. And he's a range of 5. So we've got 2 units that are in range. He's a range of 6. All right, so nearest friendly units, either one of those. Okay. So, question is who's it going to be? So we're going to do just a simple dice roll to catch him. So Y7 will be odd, Z7 will be even. So one dice, so it's odd. So he's going to fire at Y7. He's going to take a shot at Y7. So it's a range of 5. Alright, so heavy machine gun. Units, heavy machine gun. Range of 5, so he's going to be medium range, which is going to be 5. So it's going to be on a 5, shooting at the infantry in the house, full cover, so it's 6. So it's going to be 5 against 6. So here's 5, here's our 6. So 57, 86. All right. So we do have a couple of modifiers here, actually maybe just one modifier. The short halt, so it's minus 15 for that. Okay, minus 15 for the short halt. And then I think that's it, minus 15. Okay. So we're going to do a minus 15 on that. So it is 5 against 6, so 57, 86. So 57 goes to 67, 72, and 101. So again, it's going to be effective on a 73 or better, 72 or better. 77. So they got him. They actually hit him and suppressed him. Let's put our suppression marker on there. That is not good for the Germans. Now I've got a second shot over here too, with the other machine gun, because there's 2 on here. So we'll take a second one again. 72 or higher. 43, miss. All right. So again, that shot not wasted, but more the fact of they can't hit anything, so they're already suppressed. All right, but that did enough damage. That got them suppressed. The third one we have shooting at them is going to be. Oh no, they've got to move. I'm sorry, they've got to move. So that's all the shooting for the French. Okay, so now it's back to the Germans. So let's take the guy who was just suppressed here. Boy, what's he want to do here? I think he's going to just shoot straight ahead at one of the top unit, top H39 right here. So he's now suppressed. So let's take a look at his firepower here again. He is going to be, I believe, a 9. Yes, he is. 9 for the short range. All right. It's 9 against 2 for the H39. So it's going to be 9 against 2, so 2356 is a starting point, but there's going to be a few modifiers. 1, he's a moving vehicle, minus 10. Second, he's an A-type, is minus another 20, so that makes minus 30. Third is that he is suppressed, so that's minus 50. And I think that's about it. So minus 50, so he's going to hit on a... He's going to suppress on a 78, 73, and then 106 for effective, but he's not going to be able to get that. So 73 will suppress him. 92, there's a suppression. So we hit the first tank, or the top tank, with a suppression. Let's just add our suppress marker here. Suppressed. There we go. So the top unit is suppressed. So his fire marker can come off. Oh, not that much off. Delete. There we go. And now both of these are suppressed. Or the German unit and the top H39 is suppressed. So that'll affect the movement a little bit on there in terms of what they can do as a stack. Now we'll go with the next one here. That's my other suppressed German squad, and they're going to take a shot at one of the one of the squads over that's about to just attack them or hand-to-hand them. We're going to take a shot at one of those guys over there, and let's just take a look at what that's going to be. So they're going to start out as a 9, but they are suppressed against an infantry. They are under tanks, so it's going to be light cover. So light cover is going to be a 4, but they are moving, so it's going to go down to 2. So it's going to be 9, 2, same thing as we had before, 23 and a 56. Now let's take a look at some of our modifiers here. Let's see what we want to do. So first off, they're moving. No, excuse me, that's target vehicle moving. First off, they're suppressed, so it's going to be minus 20. So it's going to be 43, 76 on there. So it's minus 20, and I think that is about it on there. So actually, I'm going to check on one thing here. So let me just pause here for a quick second, and I'll be right back. Okay, back again here. I was just looking at one other thing here. See if I could do this. I'm also going to declare pinning fire, and pinning fire allows you to forego any effective results for a positive 20 DRM. So the best result we can get is a suppression. But in this case, that's actually pretty good, because if I suppress that one unit, that'll keep him out of the hand-to-hand combat. So I'm actually going to declare pinning fire. So the plus 20 and the minus 20 for the suppress gets me with 0. So it's going to be a straight 23, and then 56 is off the table here as well. It's all going to be just suppression no matter what. So I just need to roll greater than a 23. And I do. I get a 49. So that'll suppress one of these units, the top unit, like that. And that will slow down the attack a little bit. They'll still be able to attack with 2 units, but that will be a lot more bearable than having 3 units on here. So let me delete that. Okay, so that's my fire. Next comes the movement, and I just want to point out on our turn sequence, or sequence of play. Now when it comes to the movement, the close assault and hand-to-hand come first, and then movement, and then the overrun in there. So what we need to do now is actually check on this hand-to-hand combat. So let's first take a look at if that hand-to-hand is going to actually occur. In the solo rules, there is a table on here, and this is what new thing I want to highlight, to dictate whether the unit is going to go into hand-to-hand or not. Okay, all it is a cross-reference between the units that are going to be involved in the close combat. So the attackers down the side, defenders across the top. So I've got squads going against another squad. So if I cross-reference here, I get the number 3. That's the number I have to roll, 3 or less, to actually initiate the hand-to-hand combat. Okay. Now I will also add plus 2 to the number here, because the defending unit is suppressed. So you can see there is some plus modifiers over here. They are suppressed, so they do get a plus through it. So the plus 2 to the 3 number actually makes it to be 5. All right. So I need to roll a 5 or less, and these units will initiate the close combat. So let's see what we get. Rolled a 6. Okay. So they don't initiate the close combat, but they're still moving. In this case, I'm actually going to override that. I mean, again, it's one of those things. because it's a victory hex, because this was close combat attack here, I just think they would go in and I'd overrule that. I should probably put in another +1 or some sort of modifier because it is a highly valuable hex that they're trying to go after. So we're actually going to do the close combat here anyways. So we're going to have 2 squads going against 1 suppressed squad in our close combat. So let's take a look at what that's going to look like in our hand-to-hand. And remember, hand-to-hand is we roll 2 dice. Each side rolls 2 dice, applies modifiers. Whoever's higher wins, and the other side loses, 1 step. And then if it still continues on, we go to another round and another round until somebody wins. So first off, the French squads. There's 2 squads coming in. So modifiers for squad, nothing. Over here. Defender suppressed, so that's a defender negative number. And uphill, no. We've got a second squad coming in here, so they get a +20. The French have a +20. No flamethrower, no cavalry, no hesitation, no grade. So the French get a +10, +20. So I'm going to roll for them. 17 + 20 is 37. That's in the Germans' favor here. So it's 37. And then let's take a look at the what's going to be for the Germans. Now the Germans just have 1 squad. They are suppressed, so it's a -20. It's not uphill. They're not hesitating. They're not broken. All right, so they're just going to get a -20. And they roll 20, but they still lose. All right, so we'll just adjust these. Ooh. Goes over. So he actually goes to a half squad. He becomes fully suppressed. And then we go to another round. So now the French remain the same. They'll have a +20. So they get 51, 71. But now the Germans, they're now a half squad. So they're now suppressed and a half squad. So they're going to get a -20 and a -25, -45. Pretty sure that's going to do them in. And yes, it does. So they're dead. All right, so let's delete that. Delete that. And the squad, we'll go into the eliminated pile. All right, just leave it there like that. So they've actually defeated them there, and now they can. The 2 other squads can actually move into the hex, and they've actually captured the hex. All right, so their attack is becoming highly disturbing to me because they're actually taking ground back here. But one of the things you'll notice here is I've got Overwatch fire. Now, when they're moving in like this, I believe they can be fired upon. I'm just going to check that, so just hang. All right, it's always good to check with the rules here. So that doesn't actually trigger Overwatch. That movement into the hex does not trigger the Overwatch on here. So we're actually in good shape. Good shape with that. So they can move in. And that'll be that. Now I also noticed I didn't trigger my Overwatch over here with the French to shoot at the Germans before they moved into the hand-to-hand combat over there. That's okay. It actually worked out for the French. Still have the Overwatch in case I try to move back up here. I've got to be extremely careful. Okay, so there's the hand-to-hand. So now it goes into the movement. The German being the second player, I've got to move the Germans first. All right. So this is where I'm going to need to get a little tricky. Now this guy's suppressed, so he's not going to be able to move very far. He's not going to move very far, I don't think. Yeah, I could still do some movement. So okay, let's start with the first one over here. I'm going to take the one tank over here, and he is going to turn and go 1, 2, 3. And let's see, his turret actually turned with him. And that comes over here. Now that doesn't count towards his turret turning because he turned the tank and the turret was already turned over there already. So he's going to come over like so. All right. So that takes care of him. Delete. Now, what to do over here? I want to move these guys to kind of help him out, but I want to be careful because I don't want to give up another hex too soon here. He's the only one. He's got a short halt. He's moving. All right. So move one down there. So okay. So I'm going to gamble a little bit. I'm going to bring these guys 1, 2, and 1, and then turn. We should do 2 because you can drive through other units, and then 3. And I'm going to turn him back and turn him like that for 4. And he's going to take the same route, so I'm just going to bring him over here and move them in like that. So they're now aligned over here. He moved from there. All right, so now I'm lining them up, so hopefully I can take some rear shots against the French tanks, because the French tanks are vulnerable in the rear to the German units. So we'll see what I can do over there. So we'll get rid of that. Delete. All right, so it's over to the French. So now let's take a look at the heavy machine guns down here and see what they're going to move with. So 1D that, 23. And 8. So let's go over our charts. So 23 with a move action is going to be -10, so 13. So again, greatest cover. And I think that's going to be 8 down to 7 is going to be the fastest. Okay. So they're just going to move up 1 here again, like so. Okay. So they're just slowly kind of moving up to kind of cover an attack over here. Next one's going to be the short halt with the tanks over here. Now this is going to get interesting because the short halt reduces their movement to half. So it's 1.5 rounded down is 1. But then it's for one of the tanks it's further rounded down or further halved. And rounded to a minimum of 1. So they basically only have 1 hex, can only move 1 hex. So let's see where they're going. 54 and 8. So 54 and 8. -10, 54, 44. Nearest victory point hex. And 8 down to 7 is fastest. Okay. So the fastest direction. Well, the fastest way is to try to drive over these guys, but one of the guys is suppressed, so he cannot do that. They can't overrun that unit. But what they can do is turn and move up here and then turn back to try to go to that hex that was just vacated by the Panzer IIIFs. Right? So they'll move up to there. Delete. And now the last one is these guys over here, 89 and a 9. 9 goes down to 8. And where's my charts? 9 goes down to 8, fastest, 89, 79, highest victory point hex. Okay, so he's gonna go fastest victory point hex. He could potentially drive in there. So let's see if he's going to do an overrun. He potentially can do this. Again, we got to consult our charts. So when we take a look at this here, the attacker's in a vehicle, the defender's a squad, all right? But yeah, that's it. So they're both the same grade, which is seasoned, so that's no effect, and there's no suppression, so there's no effect. So he's got to roll a 1 to actually do this. All right, well, let's give it a try. So he's rolling. He does roll a 1. Surprise, surprise. So he's actually going to try to overrun, even though he's cautious. He's going to try to overrun the infantry. All right, so what does that mean? So these two tanks are going to try to overrun. So each one of these is going to get to attack these guys in the house. So we'll calculate what that's going to be. So for the French, yeah, it's going to be an H-38. So they're going to get a firepower of 2. Firepower 2 with a plus 10. So it's going to be 2, and then they're in a wooden building, full cover, so it's going to be 6. So it's going to be 2 against 6. So there's 2 against the 6. All right, so 69.95. So now let's take a look at what we have for modifiers here. We know we got the plus 10 for the machine guns, coaxial machine guns. That's down here. And then we have the overrun attack, which is a plus 20. Now, we've got to do one thing, though, first, because they are driving into buildings. All right, so they are going to be going into buildings. And we've got to see if they can actually do it without taking a hit. All right, so we've got a wooden building. It's this third line over here. And then we've got to see if they take any damage. You can either take a hit. You can, if they do take a hit, then they've got a track damage or just a damage. So it's a 50% chance of a damage. There's a plus 5 for each GP defense. So the GP defense is 2, so they'll get plus 5 for each. So that's a plus 10 for the 2 hit. So let's see if they take any damage going into the building. 47. So he doesn't take damage. All right, the first one goes into the building, doesn't take any damage because his to hit was here, and I apologize. The defense actually applies to the damage if it's if it hits. So there's no damage on him, so he can do the attack. So going back to the attack, it's a 2 against a 6 with a plus 30. So he's going to hit on a 39 or a 65. All right, that's pretty good numbers for him. So let's see what happens. 22 plus 30 is 52. All right, 52, which I don't think is going to do it. No, it doesn't. All right, so his overrun doesn't do anything. All right. Now the second unit's overrun. Let's do that same thing again. He's going to go into the building. Again, 50% chance of getting damaged by the building. 75. All right. That's a miss on the building. Oh, I'm sorry. 47 should have been a hit. Apologize. It was a miss all the way around, so that's okay. 75, there's no hit on there, so he gets to actually overrun again with the second unit. So that's going to be, again, 2 against 6 plus 30, and the numbers were going to be 39 and 65. All right, so let's take a look. 39 and 65. 97, that's a hit. All right, so the French are actually doing some damage here. So he's actually reduced to a half squad. He's suppressed already, so that's no problem. And then he's pretty much done. So they've done some damage here in terms of terms of hitting them. Now, a little note on this. They only had 3 movement points to actually use to go into the building. Now, the wooden building cost them 3 points to go in. Plus, he needs the damage. Now, because they've only 3, that means that they can't go through the hex and actually go across. They actually go back into the original hex. So they go in, attack the hex, and then come back out to stop over here. Okay. So that was an overrun by the French. The French are getting a little aggressive. They're cautious, but they're definitely still aggressive in terms of how they're attacking. Hopefully my Panzer IIIs can get into action here pretty soon and do some damage here. We were able to suppress 1 unit over here, which is good, but still having some difficulties against the French. I'm just going to put another marker over here to show that I'm still in control of that. So that ends the movement phase. Go into the adjustment phase. Any turret adjustments, we will have some here. So with the French, turrets always have to point towards the enemy units. So I'm just going to point him that way. And then over here, I'm just going to, I know I had a turret here someplace, so I thought I did. Let me add one back in. They will actually rotate that way. Well, it's 6 1 half dozen another, but I'll just rotate them that way. And, oops, oh, sorry. Let's get these things straight here. There we go. And, okay, well, I'll take it as is. All right, so that's their turrets rotated. So now over here with the Germans, I'm actually going to add in some turret rotations here as well. Now I've got one, excuse me, I gotta move these out so I can get these straight. Yeah, he is on here. Oh, come on. He's on here. I'm going to add another turret. And this time with the Germans, it's going to rotate 1, 2, and actually point to the H-35s right next to him. The same thing with this guy. He will get another turret like that. Okay. So that'll give me 2 pointing in this direction, 1 pointing in this direction. Perfect lineups for some shots on the next turn. Okay, so that's the turret rotations. Full cover. I'm in full cover with most everything. This guy is not in full cover. And let's see, I should decide if I want to put them in full cover. I'm not sure. I think I'm going to leave him where he is for now. So they can take some shots. Well, no, actually, no. I'm going to put him in full cover. Now I see I forgot about the French next door. I better put him in full cover. So we'll put full cover on him. There we go. And just rotate that around. Alright, so that takes care of full cover. Now the suppression adjustment. This is going to turn to off. And this is going to turn to off. Alright, but they're still suppressed. And we go from there. So there we have it, the end of turn 4. French are making some good inroads. It's giving me some tough choices here in terms of what I need to do. I do need to start knocking out some of these H-38s so I can give some relief to the infantry, which is taking all the hits so far, with 1 loss in the hand-to-hand combat, and then another reduction here due to an overrun by the Germans, or by the French. So let me just clean a few things up here and come back with probably the last turn, which will be turn 5.